problem with having a verb to love is that we can think of loving as a thing that concerns primarily ourselves. If I say, I love, then I am the subject of the sentence. It can easily become a matter of me and my feelings. So long as my feelings are warm and fuzzy, then I can consider myself a lover. In Japanese, one does not love, one does love. The verb is do. That means that the focus is not on my emotional state, but on my actions. Today's gospel passage says much the same thing. Everyone knows that Jesus told us to love. We're to love God and our neighbor. Does that mean that we're to cultivate warm feelings about them? Apparently not. The only reference Jesus makes to feelings is, do to others what you would have them do to you. Figure out what you like, what makes you feel good, and then do it for someone else. Unfortunately, that's not all that Jesus says. He doesn't tell me to find people I like and then do nice things for them. The entire list of people he says we should do love toward are the sort of people with whom I'd rather have nothing to do at all. People who hate me, people who abuse me, people who steal from me, strangers who beg for me, all sorts of unsavory folk. It's not that I hate such people. I just want to live far away from them. But Jesus tells me that though I do not have to work up warm feelings toward their ilk, I have to overcome my cold feelings enough to serve them. So, must I grit my teeth and inflict my goodness on those people? St. Paul, who had a good memory for injuries, quotes Proverbs approvingly. If your enemies are hungry, feed them. If they're thirsty, give them something to drink. For by this you will heap burning coals on their heads. Be nice to them so as to embarrass them? This is not Paul at his best. No, the model has to be Jesus on the cross, not only forgiving his murderers, but making excuses for them. They don't know what they're doing. Can we actually do that? Isn't it impossible to do love for all those people I'd rather avoid? Perhaps I could just have good feelings for them from afar. But the Lord will not allow that. I have to eventually take a deep breath and plunge into actually meeting and serving those very people. How can I do it? I wish I didn't know, but I do in fact. I'm experienced at it. There are many people who have harmed me. There are people who have deprived me of what is rightfully mine. There are people who have made a fool of me. In most cases, I avoid them. There's one such person, however, that I cannot avoid. My worst enemy is myself. The one who keeps me from living the life God calls me to is none other than myself. And yet, in spite of all I've done to myself over the years, I still feed myself, clothe myself, and, in general, look after myself. Like Jesus on the cross, making excuses for his enemies, I even make excuses for myself. So, it's not totally impossible for me to do love toward an enemy. I just have to do for others what I do for myself. I have to be as willing to love the one I cross the street to avoid as I am to love the one I see in the mirror. That still is not easy, but knowing I can do it for my worst enemy is an encouragement that I can do it for others. There are other examples available to me. There are people who do love toward me, though I have harmed them either intentionally or unknowingly. Then, of course, there is God. I am in many ways the enemy of God. Yet, God does not give up on me. God nurtures me, encourages me, and challenges me. In a word, God does love toward me. So, in my own life, I can see the love of which Jesus speaks being done. I love myself, others love me, and God loves me. That's a good head start. All I have to do is stretch myself a bit to do likewise for others.